direction are we going next here?
Well, do you want to do some questions? Does anybody have questions? I know you
think
picked
we
up
have some cards
I
here.
didn't. We can do some questions.
Not sure if I answered this fully. I don't want to. I spoke at length already. Caravan, how it works. Did you get it? Did you?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. If you have any other questions, see me, ask me. Tracy knows some too as well. But please, if there's any other, as well as the contact information, be emailing us. We will go. Who is this? Oh, this is the person that let us know you came to our workshop. Is Caravan being used in the district? Is it functioning for the churches who use Caravan? Anybody using Caravan? How is it functioning? That's my general. How's it functioning?
It's doing great.
Okay.
Y'all gave me some ideas of how to tweak it though, because we're kind of losing the staff.
Okay.
So, but it's been great. The kids love it because it's not a just sit down and hear a Bible story. They get to build stuff. They get to create things, and so they love it. And they never know. Month by month it changes. And if you're in the younger grades, it might be half a month. So, but yeah, so it's great. You can do anything from cooking to working with tools to the older kids get to work on the car, so they think it's great when my husband lifts up the car and goes, "Look, tell me this," and they're like, "You want me to what?" So babysitting, all kinds of stuff. And it's cool because with us, when we do like babysitting badge, they go downstairs and help the nursery at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't have to add an extra day to just watch kids. So, or you can, but you don't have to.
It is a thriving ministry. I've been in 2 churches and we've done Caravan, and the kids love it. Sometimes, like I said, we've had to scale it back because I didn't have enough workers. We only had 3 workers, so we only did 3 classes. We just kind of grouped the kids how they would fit, and we went with it. You can adapt it to it. NPH spent a lot of time revamping it so that you could make it into a kids club, and from what I understand, hopefully in the future they're looking at making some even more changes to make it even more kids club friendly.
Yeah, I do have some information on that. I don't want to. I'll get to that in just a minute because I know there's a few other Caravan people in the house that could speak to that. How is it going for you, Ron?
We have a regional Boy Scout leader come to us and say we love to get your caregivers once they graduate and go to Boy Scouts because they're so well prepared.
Wow.
That's great.
It's very equal to Cub Scouts and not that.
Cool. So a little Boy Scout recruiting from Caravan program. I love it. That's great. There is a question that says, and this is really kind of a tough one. We could all kind of network about this one here, but what is the most effective way to recruit good children's workers? Loaded question, but no, it's a good question. Very good question.
And that's a question that everybody has.
And
it's
everybody.
something, and every church is a little different.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I've had to try to pull workers in 2 different churches, and they're all different. And you just, like the way Emily does, you're an expert at this. Come talk to me.
Yeah.
Just encourage them. Say, these are kids that this is the next generation. What we instill in them is what they're going to provide for us. And I guess I use that because when I was in high school, we still had all the fun activities that are taken away out of high schools now. And I still remember our principal going on the PA and said, look, if you guys want funding and you want help with this, you need to treat the people out there that are voting, you know, with respect, and so that they'll help you. And when and then I kind of took that, I went, well, let's turn that around. We, as Christian, godly people, need to instill in these children how to be godly, how to be holy, how to live a life for Christ. Because if we don't do that, what are we going to end up when I'm that 65-year-old lady, possibly, you know, in a wheelchair, needing help? What kind of kids have I brought up to help? And if you start looking at it that way, going, this is our future. And as I'm getting older, I'm realizing this is my future. My kids are going to someday make decisions for me as I am making decisions for my mother. And that's like, okay, Lord, help me raise them the right way. And then I look at the kids around me and go, I need to help those kids, those parents help those parents help those kids to grow up and to be godly people. There's so much junk. Again, there's so much junk out there to take them from us. We need to try to be creative. And we all have a little bit of creativity. We're all born artists. Did you know that? We're all born as artists. But it's as we go along life, people cut us down and we don't become creative anymore. We all have that creativity in us because we're created by the greatest creator. He created us, and he's very creative, so he can help you get creative and passionate.
I know that in the churches that I've been in, things that have kind of helped with volunteers, because I know it's hard to recruit volunteers, and then it's even harder to keep them. And so I think like what I've seen is the better organized I am, and the more like preparation that I've done, and the more communication I have with my volunteers, that they really they feel a part of it, and when they come in on a Sunday, they know what to expect. They're not just kind of, if you're chaotic, then they're going to feel chaotic, and they're not going to want to be a part of that. So really organization, communication, and also appreciation. And, I learned from a lady in our church at HFC that she's like the greatest card sender. And everyone in the church knows that she sends amazing notes. And so that's something I learned from her. And I try to send handwritten thank you notes to the volunteers. And of course I keep a spreadsheet of who I've sent what, when, and that way I'm not repeating the same thing all the time, and I make sure everyone's covered. But little handwritten notes just to say, thank you, you're awesome. And also have gotten the most response when it comes from the pulpit. So when we have been really short on funding or volunteers or anything, there's just something about the man or woman that's up there saying it from the pulpit that really gets us the greatest response. So don't be shy and talk to your senior pastor about, hey, we really have a need. And if they just say a brief little 30 seconds about it, then you will see your ministry grow.
Yeah, I would echo what Chrissy said. We just recently decided, hey, we need to start intentionally growing our children's department. We can't just do it on accident. We're not, the Duggar family, if you know what that is, who they are not just going to show up on our front door and say, hey, I want to be a Nazarene. Let's join the church, and now you've got a children's ministry. It doesn't happen that way, and appreciating your workers is huge, and it usually just floats by us. And we just say, oh, they know that we care. We recently started using a digital newsletter, and I said, and I kind of edited it. So my pastor said, hey, I want to put a volunteer spotlight for all kids workers. So I made a calendar list and tried to fill in as many of our workers as possible and scheduled it so that I was accountable to something to actually thank somebody at least once a week on that, and it goes to the entire church. And so they know that they're being thanked. And they know, and then their accomplishments are highlighted in that little write-up as well. And so that type of a thing has started. I think the other thing that my entire church is starting to feel is that prayer really works. And when we do go after people without prayer, it rarely either works or lasts because they get burnt out. They don't have that passion. They're looking at you like you are so desperate. You're coming to me. And we don't want to feel that way. We want to feel like God is calling each and every one of these folks to come to us. And I think what you said about the having the expert come in is actually there's a curriculum that I'd love to talk to you at a different time called Rotation and Bible study, and you can use it for Sunday school. Rotation Sunday School Ministries. It's an online thing. It's really, really cool. But you only request your teachers for a certain given period of time throughout the entire school year. And so all you have is leaders. So it's a very much like, in my mind, a VBS style of doing Sunday school. And so your Sunday school teachers become three times out of the month, they're going to give their lesson. It's going to be the exact same lesson to different groups, different age groups, and there's a guide that takes them along to that. But everybody learns 12 main things or 6 main things, the same stories all year round. But by the end of that year, they know it like the back of their hand instead of 52 different Bible stories that are, seemingly no way connected. And so repetition really helps, and helps them to learn tactilely, cooking, doing all these different things that kids love to do to get their energy out. And you can incorporate it in that model. So.
And I think a key thing that's worked that you've heard from everybody, if you're having a hard time getting the workers, take sections, take chunks. Can you do this for 2 months? Just do this. Sometimes people just need to know okay, I'm gonna volunteer, I wanna volunteer, but I don't wanna do this for the next 30 years. I wanna have the freedom to do other ministries, and we need to give them that freedom. That if you wanna help, and you can give them a small chunk of time, they're more likely to do that. And if you show that they're appreciated, a lot of times those short-term will say, hey, I want to do that again. And they'll start coming on board because they'll see the benefits and the value in it. Another great thing that the Nazarenes have is the Nazarene Children's Leadership Conference is coming up. If you lead children, this is an awesome conference to go to. It's going to be in the fall. There's going to be information. There's information here, and they're going to get some more information out. But there is the Nazarene Children's Leadership Network.
Mm-hmm.
Got to get that out right because it used to be called something else.
Yep.
And it's valuable for getting ideas. A lot of children's leaders will type on it. You can find them on Facebook, and they will write like, "I'm doing this. Has anybody experienced this?"
Yeah.
And then all these other children's leaders will say, hey, I had that problem and this is what I did. And oh wow, try this. I had a person that said they want to start sending surveys out to their workers so they can learn a little bit more where their preference is, what they're trained in, or what their experiences are. But she also puts down, like, what's your favorite hobby? What's your color? That way, she has that information, so in appreciation, she can remember, oh, they really like chocolate kisses, so I'm going to get just a little thank you gift and put it on, give it to them in their classroom. It helps you to know, and the Nazarene Children's Leadership Network is an awesome way to get ideas. These are people that, some people are just brand new, so they have a lot of creative ideas. Some people have been at it for a little while, and so they have a little bit of wisdom to add on there. And it's just a great way to get information. I'm not on their board. I just think it's a great thing. And their conferences are awesome.
They are.
They are very.
I went to one in 07, and it was very, very cool.
Yeah,
I
it's
had
really good.
prizes. They took us
Yes.
they took us to a dinner, and it was really fun. It was like a Chuck E. Cheese for adults, but it wasn't like Thanksgiving. Dave and Buster's, not like that, but it was a family pizza thing. It was really awesome. They gave away prizes, and I still have those prizes. It's sweet. So,
Yeah.
if nothing else, take this away. Go for the prizes.
But they bring in great speakers to give you information. And again, there's a lot of people there that have different experiences that can help you come up with ideas. And so it's a great conference if you can get one of your children's leaders or yourself. If you're a leader in children's ministry, you can go. And it'll be in October 6th through the 9th, and it'll be in Oklahoma City, so it's not too far away. Not like, I went to the one up in Ohio, so I had to fly. I'm not a flyer. Anyway, I like where I can drive. So it's a great conference to go to. So I would encourage anybody that is a leader in children's ministry to go to this. And if you have somebody in your church, encourage that. And again, that network is there. It helps us to know as leaders in kids ministry, answer questions, have a place to say, help, I need help. How do I do this? How do I handle this? And they can add to it.
Well, it looks like things are dismissing at the
Yes.
45-minute mark.
Yes.
Want to give away a couple prizes? If in fact I have a couple winners. Y'all like it spread out like you go to a Nazarene church. So, I'll give you a stretch break here. If you want to stand up, and underneath your chair, if you find a Winnie the Pooh sticker of some sort, claim your prize. I have 2 stickers and I have 2 Winnie the Pooh. Look at that.
Do we have a winner?
We have a winner.
Do we have another winner? Anybody have a Pooh sticker under their chair?
Is there poo under your chair? Sorry, this is going online now. Anybody? Look underneath those chairs. Even if you didn't sit in that chair, you can keep looking. Now, yeah, that's right. This is the ideas. Go for it, folks. If you've never heard Upward, it's pretty awesome. You can ask me. Becky, it's game ready. There you go.
To know where we're at, how to get in contact with us, we have these cards. It also has our webpage, it has our address, email address, it has all sorts of information. Let us know you're out there. If you don't hear from us, find us so we know that we have your address.
maybe enjoy some candy. For your lunch, it's an appetizer.